Welcome to the Scale Up Valley podcast, where we bring the best founders and investors to help you scale your business from 1 million to 1 trillion. Today's guest is a special one. Her name is Raja, the investor and founder of the visionary company and VC. Raja, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. We have been trying to do this one for a long time, but we are entrepreneurs, we are persistent, and we were able to I'm sure, serve the community with this amazing episodes. You have an amazing story and an amazing career and experience. So I'm very pleased to have you on the show. Raja, feel free to share a bit more about your story and your background to start.
Yes. I'm super excited to be here and share everything I know. And we can start with a bit about myself. Yeah, exactly. I'm a founder. I will always be a founder. And I'm also an investor, and I think I will always be an investor. And I'm an advisor. I will always be an advisor. So I've been having wearing these three hats for the last, 5-10 years. Even if I actually started going into entrepreneurship way back in my early 20s, so almost 20 years ago now. But of course, the first ventures were just like trials and failures and testing and trying and failing again.
I recognize that.
This is how we start. And actually, I wish I started even earlier. I feel I started quite late at 22, 23. I was always interested in entrepreneurship because I could see problems around me and wondering, how can we solve this, But luckily, at some point, I just decided to go full in and make it happen. Before that, so I started in private banking in Switzerland. I grew up in Switzerland. I'm born in Morocco, grew up in Switzerland. And I worked like many people in Switzerland. They go to banking because you either have access to the banking industry, insurances, watches, or chocolate. These are your 4 options.
Exactly.
I went for banking. My friends were going for banking. Okay, let's become a banker. But I was not really interested or passionate. It was not just for me at that time. Maybe I'll go back to that in the future. But at that time, I was too energetic and hyperactive. I'm a little bit hyperactive. And I wanted to see what's my potential. What can I create? How can I impact the world? And I'm still a visionary person. I believe my company is called the Visionary Company, NBC. However, I think in the beginning, which is also important for founders, we're big dreamers. I was more of a visionary than an executor, maybe. I had to go through that process to understand it's not just about a big vision. You have to get things done.
Right.
And so while being in private banking, I was trying to get things done and learning as much as possible on the side. And I was even quitting my jobs, highly paid jobs, safe and so on, and trying a startup. And of course, 4 months later, nothing is happening. I go back to banking and I do it again. I quit and I go back. But so at some point, we had another opportunity where I could get out of that space. In Geneva, that banking sector. I really wanted to break free, basically. And we moved to Norway. My husband had an opportunity in Norway. He's Norwegian. We moved to Norway. And this is when I really started my career as an entrepreneur, investor, advisor. I started by, long story short, because I shared this story a lot on LinkedIn and on other podcasts, so we'll not cover this again here. But long story short, I wanted to understand the ecosystem. I started to host events, just connecting with other founders to understand what it is about, actually. I tried myself, but I have no business knowledge, really, can't count the 5 startups I tried, and it doesn't call me an entrepreneur yet. I don't know really how to grow a business. I don't have a network. I don't speak the language. I need to connect with people. I need to learn from other founders and see who's out there. What are the businesses out there? Maybe I could join a business. Maybe, let's see. That's how I started. I built over less than a year, a community of over 1,000 founders. That was in 2015, 2016. Exposed me to the challenges that founders face, lack of knowledge, lack of network, lack of capital, the mindset that is, you have to have a certain kind of mindset to be a founder.
Right.
And that period was basically my market research period, connecting with all these founders, organizing events, offering my help, trying really to serve them and find solutions to their problems was the foundation of everything I've been doing. That helped me have the opportunity to launch the hub.io, which is the biggest job platform for startups to recruit in the Nordics. With the hub is now processing over 1 million job applications per year.
Wow.
My other opportunities also came from everything I've been doing that first year in Norway, not making any money, just like learning from others and doing my market.
Super inspiring.
Yeah.
So it came almost out of necessity, right? You needed to move, and it was the opportunity that you needed and that you've been trying for years to really start a community and get even deeper into.
Everything came out of necessity. I wanted to break free from the golden handcuffs we have in Geneva, in Switzerland, where you become a banker, you're highly paid, it comes with the prestige and the lifestyle, but many are not satisfied with their life, but they can't break free.
Exactly.
No offense to all my private banking friends.
We all understand the fear.
But it's very difficult to leave a safe job. Many are dreaming about starting their own business, but it's hard when you have commitments, family commitments, a mortgage and so on. It's hard to break free. So I had to move to a new country to break free, basically. And when I moved to this new country, I realized another necessity. I don't know anybody. I don't have a network. I need a network. Don't have knowledge. I mean, I can't spend time reading all these books. I'm not gonna learn entrepreneurship in books. I'm gonna learn it from others and from executing. So I went for that. The fast speed, the fast track was getting people more experienced than me to share with me how they've done it. And the way I've done that is by offering my help and working with them, sometimes buying their services just to, my brain was a sponge, getting as much knowledge as possible and building my network.
Yeah. And your content is quite amazing nowadays. That's the way I found you. And I also love the Nordics, the ones who have been following me know a bit why. Yeah. I've also been speaking at conferences in Norway 2014 and 2015. So first in Oslo and then in Bergen, the Norwegian International Entrepreneur Conference hosted by Kristin Hartun. So, and yeah, nowadays working more in Copenhagen and Stockholm. But yeah, it's always great to be connected with the Nordics and to see all the potential and all the amazing scale-ups and startups that come from the Nordics to the world. And
yeah, we have some good people, a good environment that allows
the culture
to start, and have a safe space to start a business.
And what I really like is the combination I always talk about is on the show of kindness and at the same time being direct and
kindness. Direct and humble. People are humble here.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is a very rare combination, right? To be straightforward and at the same time still be candid and still be humble and curious about learning more. Cool. And since then you have advised thousands of startups, typically on what stages, Raja?
So I would say now I'm shifting. Now we're moving towards much later stage companies. Not so later stage because we work with companies who have paying customers, and it can be a monthly recurring revenue of from 5,000 euros, 10,000 euros, some more, because we act now as advisors and consultants. So we cannot work with companies that don't have clients yet. We come in and we accelerate their growth. We structure their processes. We structure the company. We connect them to our network of board members and investors. So they need to be able to invest in that as well. Right. And when we have worked with them and evaluated them, assessed them and seen that actually this has potential, we also invest. We invest. So that's our model. But before doing that, I've been working a lot with super early stage founders, MVP stage, idea stage, and also aspiring entrepreneurs. That has been my, with the hub and with the accelerator programs I launched, we were targeting early founders and helping them fundraise from investors.
Got it. So you would say typically from pre-seed to Series A, or more from seeds to...
Yeah. So I love entrepreneurship and helping people start a business.
Right.
So I will always help via my content, my newsletter. I will always serve early stage founders and people who want to start.
Yeah.
So I help, pre-seed, seed stage companies via in different ways. They can book a session with me. However, our programs are now for later stage.
Right.
Post-seed and pre-series A companies, we help them reach the Series A stage.
Right. Would you like to talk a little bit more about the kind of programs that you have for people to be aware?
Basically, we have a 6-month program where we meet the founders. We have a blueprint. We go through a due diligence first, an assessment of their situation, the market, the customer segment, pricing model, business model. We go through everything that is on the business model canvas, and then we optimize it. In short, we have the foundation. We look at what they're doing today. Where do they want to get? In 5 years, what's the goal? Is it an exit? Okay, so we need to start planning for the exit today. You need to start talking to competitors. You need to start having in place the kind of company that a buyer would look at within your sector. And what does it require? What does it mean? What should you have in place? And what kind of competitors can acquire you? So we go through this process to help you reach your goal, whether it's fundraising or getting into your first million or exiting your company.
Right. But it's kind of an accelerator program, or in a one-on-one basis, in a cohort
we do a
basis?
combination. We do one-on-one and in groups. So from September, we will have a group of 5 to 10 companies going through a program. For now, we've been doing a combination of group and group coaching, group advisory, and one-on-one. We're going to try to focus only on groups moving forward from September.
Got it. I like the combination of really helping those companies to get prepared and helping them with advisory, and then investing in some of them. So
it happens a little bit organically. We do a lot of investments. So we invest, almost, for now it's been like every month or every 2 months we invest in a company. And then we realize we've done our due diligence, but we don't really know these people, how they execute. Are they coachable? It's very hard to do your due diligence when you don't work with the founders. Recently, I've worked with a founder. I helped her. We helped them close their round, optimize their round, negotiate, be super available whenever they have a question. We have them optimize their processes, the team structure, the KPIs, increase their sales over 5 months. And then after 5 months, she was closing her round and was like, actually, I know you very well, and you have executed on every advice, and now you're closing your round and you're increasing your sales. I don't want to miss on this opportunity. So we're going to invest. That was not the plan originally. Originally, the plan was to coach them and help them achieve their goals, fundraising and increasing their sales, and having the foundation to scale, because they're on their way to scale.
Absolutely.
And after doing this, we realized, okay, actually, this is the way to go. We want to invest in the founders we advise, because we know them, and this is the best due diligence, because we have helped them prepare for other investors. We have helped prepare their data room. We have helped prepare their pitch deck, their presentation, everything. So what we should not miss on the opportunity
of the investment.
Exactly.
I really like the combination, especially because we know that in this segment, consulting is not a very big business. And having the opportunity to invest on those companies and to be part of their upside, that's great. So we help them with the consulting part, so they are able to succeed. But then we also share the upsides, and hopefully it also shows that we did a good job before and after supporting them. And to be part of the program, is there of course criteria of selection of those companies? Do they need to pay any fee, or is it on percentage of equity?
There is a fee. Because the advisors I bring on board who provide their knowledge and coach are experienced entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs with successful exits, who are now board members, who are investors, who are working within private equity. One of them has helped within his career raise close to 1 billion euros. I mean, these guys, they value their time. So to access them, people have to pay. And the fee is still very affordable for post-revenue companies. It's 20,000 euros for 6 months of advisory and accessing a network of board members, investors, plus being coached by professional board members and myself.
Right. And in terms of the geography, is this in person or across the Nordics via remote combination of remote and in person? Yeah.
We've been no, we don't do in person.
Okay. All remote.
Yes, my board members are based in the Netherlands, some in Sweden, and our network is at a European level. Okay. So
also in the cohort side, or
exactly, yes, okay. we work with companies in Stockholm, UK, Spain, Israel.
Okay, it's a European scope.
Exactly. Middle East and European, yeah.
Israel.
Exactly.
Okay, that's Middle East, exactly. Well then, that's really great. So we have seen thousands of companies since 2015. What would you say are always the main pain points? You were saying that it was great to also do your market research and understand what are the needs of that audience. What would you say are the main issues that founders struggle with from, let's say, from seed to Series A? That's the area that we are focusing on.
I would say, okay, from seed to Series A. So that's a bit different. If we were talking about early stage, I would say like early stage, they don't often understand the importance of having cash. And then when they think about, no, I know the importance of having cash, I need to get money from investors, then they don't understand what investors are looking for. Right. So when I talk a lot about investor psychology, understand investors are not charity. Investors are going to assess you from a non-emotional perspective. They're going to look at what gives you credibility, what is helping them trust you. So it's going to be data, it's going to be numbers, it's going to be clients, it's going to be whatever can be quantified, while also having that gut feeling about you. So I would advise early stage founders to build a relationship with investors and understand what they're looking for. And I will tell you what they're looking for. They're looking for companies that don't need them.
Right.
So make money, get clients, show that if you can't get clients because you're in the B2C space, or it's taking, in the B2B, it's easier to, there are methodologies, of course, if people hear me, like it's not easier, but there are ways to get that, to get
right.
At a very early stage, get clients to invest in a pilot project together and pay upfront for some of the work you will deliver. Yeah. So in the B2C, you can show that there is a wait list of users, for example.
Right.
So collect as much credibility. Yeah. Show investors that there is a market waiting for you. And we're not talking about there is a market because I read a report from McKinsey. We don't care about that. Right. We want to know as investors that you have talked to all these people in your wait list, that they are waiting for the product you have, that you have co-created that with them. What kind of feedback did you collect to build this solution? Okay, so this is for early stage. And advice for early stage, get traction, make sure you validated the problem, the solution, and show that to investors. For later stage, the challenges that founders have, it's going to be that basically they have managed to, because they've been part of an accelerator, or they have managed to get their first customers, get the MVP, and now what? Okay. Right. And now what do we do? We're making, like I have the example of a company right now we're working with. They have started with large customers. We're talking about Google, EY, they're selling them their service. They saved some money before starting their project. So they had that money to build the tech. great that there was a product market fit, actually, because it was a bit random that they had this idea, they went for the tech, they had the money, they would build the tech, which I usually don't advise to do. Now, I don't advise to just go for the tech and then figure out who wants it. But they've been around for some time. They built the tech, they invested in their company, and they had a good network of clients. So they had access to that, to Google, to EY, to large companies who were interested in buying their services. Now, the challenge they have, the reason why we work with them, to help them scale. They have 5 big clients. They have a company to manage. They're still small. They're 3 people. Right. So how can they reach the next level? What can they optimize within their company? So we're looking at really details here. How are they spending their time? Where are they allocating their time? What kind of activities are they doing? They don't have KPIs. What kind of KPIs can we set up for them? What are the relevant metrics to track? And their goal is an exit. So how can we get to an exit?
Right.
The challenges are different for scale-ups. It's about scaling, of course. But in the end, it goes down to clients, how to get more clients. And how to prepare for the next fundraising.
Right.
Money. How to make.
So, and in order to fundraise, you need to have that revenue growth and those new clients.
And the KPIs.
And
the metrics and the processes. And you have to find a way to scale, because venture capitalists want companies that are on their way to scale.
Right.
They want companies that are making money so they can inject some cash to help create that exponential growth. But the company needs to have the processes in place to be able to deliver on the exponential growth.
Right. So you help those companies to get ready for fundraising through those 6-month programs. And in terms of the best practices or the common mistakes, the way you'd love to, or you'd like to handle that, what would you highlight as the main best practices and main mistakes, or as you wish, in terms of the approach you prefer?
So I will try to keep it short, because otherwise it's going to be 6 months of conversation together.
Exactly.
One advice is to figure out and actually I'm going to write, this is so important that today I'm going to send a newsletter on this. It's about KPIs and metrics. Thinking these companies that are on their way, they are preparing to scale, need to figure out what kind of metrics are making sense for them. What kind of metrics will help them track their progress, but also ensure their progress.
Right.
And set KPIs. So I give a concrete example. When we launched the hub in Norway, the job platform, in 2016, before launch, we had KPIs for the next 2 years. And I remember looking at these KPIs and I was like, I was not happy. Because I was like, we can't achieve that. Okay. And it was connected. If we were going to achieve these KPIs, we were going to get a bonus. That was the little carrot, But in the end, it became such a game. It became a game. As a team, we were in the Nordics. So I was based in Norway. Others were based in Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Northern Ireland. We were collaborating and competing with each other, but in a very collaborative way. We're in the Nordics. There's no
Exactly.
We're not competing, really. We are teams competing to lift each other up. We were sharing strategies. Say, like, what worked for you last week? I mean, I'm not hitting my KPI next week, if I'm going this, like, no, so don't, okay, we tried this strategy. You should do that strategy. Try it and you will see. Do this kind of campaign. We have these Facebook groups. We have to send a newsletter. I found a database of startups we can reach out to, because that was a job portal for startups. We were sharing these strategies, and we had these KPIs that we were looking at every week. Am I going to reach my KPIs? Am I going to reach my KPIs? Because on Tuesdays, we were meeting for 1 hour, all the Nordic managers, presenting our KPIs, what worked and what didn't work.
Wow.
So, and we had these KPIs before launch, and we did not change them. They were very ambitious. But I'm surprised that we really managed. I'm not surprised. You know, we managed. And I think because we had KPIs and it just became numbers. We're like, okay, so next week I need to add 200 new startup profiles. I need to bring within 1 week 200 new companies listed with jobs. How do we do that? We can do it. Yeah. It became a game. We had it really so KPIs. Workflow optimization. After 6 months, I started to see that I'm doing the same tasks, and these are the tasks that, because we optimize together, you know, what kind of strategies, and every day I knew what I was doing. So from 9 to 10, now on top of my mind, from 9 to 10, I was reading my emails. But at 10, I was done. I need to move to the next activity. But from 9 to 10, I only do my emails. If I finish before that, it means I can move on to the next step, you know, the next activity. From 10 to 10:30, I'm going to do Google Analytics. Hey, I have KPIs. I need to track my progress.
Right.
From 10:30 to 11:30, I will be doing social media, reposting, resharing, and you know, things like that. Yeah. Then I have a little break. Then I start again. So I optimize my workflow, and we share that also at a Nordic level. So we had this blueprint of the high impact activities, everybody that we were proven, because we've been doing them for some time, that everybody could follow to hit their targets every week, every month, and every year.
Yeah. It might sound simple, but I agree with you that this is super important. We know that clarity of vision is critical to be able to execute. And also we need to visualize, and we need to be clear what we want to achieve. If there is no clarity about what is the vision and what are the metrics, what are we tracking, what we are trying to achieve. And of course, they can be very scary, as you say, and especially if you are starting a startup, it's a high-risk environment and you are being bold. So the odds of not achieving that are much higher than the odds of achieving it. So that's why the clarity, the being concrete, and at the same time the belief, the mindset that you were talking about is so important, right?
It's good to push ourselves a bit. So first month, we had as a KPI to get 50 companies on our platform. And I was wondering, how am I going to do it? But you know, because 50 was like, for me, big. How many companies? Right. We actually managed, you know, 50 in 1 month. That was doable. We just reach out to people. We do the unscalable thing. So during that time, maybe people, we may think that when you're scaling, because we were scaling, maybe we can think about like, it's all about optimizing and automatizing. No. There has been a lot of manual work and email sent and answering people at any time in the day, you know, almost too much. At midnight, I remember I had some conversations with people on Facebook groups, because we had a competitor that now acquired us and it became the hub. And people were against us because there was already this established startup doing that in the Nordics. And they were not funded as much as us because we had a big backing from a bank, from Danske Bank. So they're like, no, you're not a real startup. You're just like funded by a big bank. And I'm like, but this is still my own company, and it's launched via my company, and I know I'm funded, but don't be so hard on me. You're trying to help founders. And while I felt like the world in the Nordics hated us, I was a friend of the CEO of the other platform. So him and I, we were in discussion, we were chatting with each other and trying to be supportive with each other. So it was very interesting. So yeah, full-time job, doing the unscalable things, trying to manage the relationship with the competitor already at that time, staying friends, because, you know, it's the Nordics. You have to stay friends with everybody. It's a small world.
Yeah.
And he's
Good
still.
point.
So, and they acquired the hub lately, like 2 months ago.
That is an amazing story. Wow. Anything that you would like to highlight on the fundraising front before we pass to go to market and scaling up?
I would say my advice for founders really is that there's so much I can say. They can go to my newsletter. I share so much. Yeah. I would say understand investors. Plan your fundraising. You need to have enough time to fundraise. If it's your first time fundraising, it's not going to be a quick fix. It's going to take you a lot of time. 9 months is a good timeline. 6 months is a minimum. I fundraised last year very quickly, like 3-4 months, because I had existing relationships for a very, very long time.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't work. If today I call an investor who doesn't know me, even if I have a strong brand, I have a good reputation, I'm known, that investor needs to do his own due diligence and get to know me, to trust me. He's not gonna, we don't trust easily. Investors are skeptical animals, and they're just waiting to see where's the crack. Exactly. Where is the crack? What can they do wrong? Can I trust this person? Yeah. And I feel founders have this expectation that they can just reach out to an investor, and then the investor says, yeah, great idea. No, it's not just
here's the check.
No, yeah, here's a check, get the money, wire instantly. That doesn't work. So have a plan your fundraising in advance, 9 months, 12 months. No investor wants to invest in a needy, desperate startup. They invest in startups that are doing well at your stage, which means if you're at an idea stage, when you need to have a wait list, even at an idea stage, you need to, even at an idea stage, show us that there are clients paying for this. Yes, I've done it. I sold based on PowerPoint presentations. I sold to corporates based on PowerPoint presentation, telling them, so the plan is to launch this platform in 6 months. I need your money today to make it happen. And it works. And I did launch in 6 months, 6 months later. So we need to see that kind of like street smart attitude also in founders, that there's not just like, oh, I built the worst case, the most horrible situations I see is when a founder tells me, oh, and I hear that every day. When a founder tells me, Raya, I've been building this for 5 years, or I've been building this for 10 years. I got that this week. I've been building this for 2 years. I'm like, okay, great. What about, do you have paying customers? Like, no, I just told you I've been building this for 10 years. I'm like, what? How can I help? I can't help at this stage. I can't help. I'm sorry. This is, I can't help. No, this is my answer. No investor is going to invest in a founder who's been building for 10 years. Unless you've been in medtech, for example, but you got access to public funding and research fund. And even these kind of companies, we're very cautious with them because it takes a lot of time with medtech to go to market. And many companies funded by the public sector and research centers don't have market validation. They're research. So great, research. Investors want companies that sell, so we can get our money back.
Absolutely.
So
No, go ahead. And we, in terms of, we were talking about the importance of course, understanding there is a market for, or there is problem solution fit, and before getting to product market fit, in other words, right? So, and we know that, as you were saying, it's important to have a great product, but first we need to validate there is customer demand for that product. And the go-to-market, the distribution is so important to scale up. In terms of the go-to-market, any story that you'd like to share, any advice or any lessons learned there?
Well, I would go back to the story with the hub, where you go to market by really going to market, by really doing the work yourself, talking to people, knocking on doors. I was knocking on doors, literally. Okay, it's like, hey, Have you heard of the hub? We can
Outbound.
just doing it yourself, testing different strategies.
Yeah.
And at some point, looking at which one is the most rewarding, which one is the high impact activity that drives most traffic, that gives you most return on investment in terms of time and money, if it's ads, for example. And then you focus on the activities that matter. It's so easy to just start to do activities that don't bring you back something because you procrastinate, because you don't want to talk to people. But if you don't want to talk to people and you want to launch a business or run a business, that's not a good start. You need to be able to talk to people. You need to be able to sell. Otherwise, your other option is get somebody who can do it. So when you go to market, just like really go to market, go talk to people and sell.
Right. And of course, we know that one of the main reasons of failure in startups is premature scaling. So understanding what is the right moment to to scale up, and also to ensure that you have product market fit, which is an easy concept to understand, a difficult concept to define, right? So we need to get ready to scale up the company, and we know there are a lot of growth pains that come with that stage of growth. Any strategies, any ideas, any thoughts or lessons learned? Yeah.
So from the start, think about, of course, where you're going to be in 5 years. Use platforms that can scale with you, that can grow with you. Don't use platforms that have a limited capacity or like that are not very user-friendly. Let's say I was working with a company that was sharing company presentations on Dropbox. That's so, like, who uses Dropbox anymore? No offense. So the first thing we did, like, oh, we're gonna move to Google for Business. Now you can share, that as simple as that. Now you can share documents with your team, collaborate, use collaborative platforms. So from the beginning, think about where you're going to be. Will you have a team of 5, a team of 10? Will you have a CRM system? Start using a CRM system. It's okay to use an Excel spreadsheet in the beginning, but very quickly, once use something that can scale with you. Excel can scale with you actually as well. So that would be the first thing. Use system that can scale with you. At the same time, do the unscalable things. Don't try to scale too fast. It's not possible. You will crash. The reason why you do unscalable things is because there's so much learning in that process. You will see what needs to be optimized or not, what is worth your time or not. You're going to be talking to customers. So important to listen to them and co-create with them. If you try to scale fast, you're missing on the opportunity of collecting feedback. This is a new product you're launching. You need to be sure that the market actually wants that.
Yep.
So while you're planning for scaling, while you're using tech clouds that can scale with you, do the unscalable things at the same time. Don't try to automatize things too quickly or just hide behind the computer. Stay in touch with your market and with your customers. Be, instead of a CEO, be customer support. I know a founder who does that. He changes hats and titles every 4 months. He's like,
that is great.
Now I'm the assistant of the CTO. I'm not the CEO anymore. I'm the assistant of the CTO. I need to understand what he does. I need to work with him. Okay, this is fixed. Now I'm going to be the assistant of the customer service. I'm going to be with them, learning from them, but also listening to what's happening with the customer.
Right. Super important. Yeah.
Stay in touch with your customers.
So build stuff that your customers want, and at the same time also make unscalable things. I think this is a great advice, especially in the beginning, instead of starting everything automated when you are still in the search phase, right? You are not in the scaling up stage yet. You are in the search phase. So let's go to the last segment of the show, Raja, which is, if you would have the opportunity, let's start with the first one. If you would have the opportunity to have a coffee with yourself at the beginning of your journey with the visionary company, what advice would you offer to your younger self? Or maybe let's back to 2015 when you moved it to Oslo.
Oh yeah. Well, I would just say do what you stay on track. You're on the right track. Just continue doing what you're doing. That's what I would say to my younger self from 8 years ago. Because yeah, there is no regret. Of course, I have achieved I have launched and succeeded with a few things the last few years, and I'm happy about that. But I have also failed many times. I tried many things, different ways. The visionary company originally, in 2020, when I left my company, I was CEO of one of the biggest accelerators in the Nordics that acquired my online accelerator. I left that position because I had a crazy idea. I wanted to create an AI bot for founders. This is ChatGPT. So I had a tech team in Oslo from a big, they called it intellectual lab, a team, and we were building that, and we built it. So, but you know, that failed. That failed 2 years ago for many reasons. For many reasons that, you know, the team, the advisors, my own strategies, doing too much, lack of focus on. I started because of my network. I started to get a lot of attention and interest from actually investors and advisors, and I got a burnout from that.
Wow.
I knew I needed money to build that because it required, I needed to pay my tech guys who were my co-founders. They were not going to work completely for free. So I started to raise money, and then I realized, the direction we were taking was not anymore the direction I wanted to take.
Yeah.
One advisor in particular, you know, it's very important to surround yourself with the right people. It's all about the people. One advisor in particular was going to invest if we were going to make money fast, which is not the right mindset at all when you go into startup. You invest, we know it's not going to be profitable for a few years. Yeah. We need to continue investing, and then we get a return on investment. So, but we will be making money along the way. But he was so focused on turning us into a profitable company from day one to invest. And I gave it a try, but it took us into a different direction. That was not my vision anymore. We started to be a marketplace, connecting startups to tech vendors. And of course, there was money there. And I very quickly got clients. But that was not what I wanted to do anymore. So I had some failures, I had some bad experiences, and we learn. So if I talk to myself in 2020, I would still say, you know, go through the process, do the mistakes, you will learn.
Exactly.
Share these stories.
And then we come back to the beginning when you said that you keep being a founder, an investor, and an advisor. So we can see that you are always going through those 3 different acts, and you feel passionate about the 3, right? So, and what are you the most proud of on your journey so far, Raja? You
would be surprised. I was thinking about it yesterday because my son came back home and my son told me, Mama, you need to go buy some ingredients. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, I sold my friend some food and I need to deliver it today. I'm like, what are you talking about? So the lunch I made for him earlier that day, some of them tasted it, some didn't taste it, but they gave him some money. So he does the same thing and delivers it to them in the evening because they had a group where they do some activities. I was like, okay, so I have to go buy some food now to make food for your friend because you already sold them the food.
Mr. CEO, wow.
And I was going on my way to the supermarket. I was like, that's actually what I'm proud of. I managed to inspire him and he's 9. You know,
that's awesome. Congratulations. What a great mindset.
Yeah. And so he listens to the conversations we're having at home. And I always try to challenge him a little bit and tell him, you know, you could do it this way. You could do it this way. What about this? He's like, yeah, Mama, let me do it my way. And then he comes back home and says, Mama, I actually sold. You need to go buy the stuff because we have clients waiting for the products.
You told me to sell it and then you find out a way of building it. So I don't know how to build it, but you will help me out.
So I was proud. Yesterday I was proud.
Awesome. Worst advice ever received?
Don't do it. I got that. Don't do it. You create. I still hear that. I still hear that from some of my friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I even talking to them about this?
It hurts, yeah, especially
It's not
from
that
the
it
friends.
hurts. It's
Yeah.
pointless. I know they're not entrepreneurs, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about starting this. I'm like, but Raya, there is no market for this. Or I'm like, oh my God, you're such a, you know, uh, I will let
Yeah.
how it starts with an idea, and then you see if you can execute on it. Then you see how you execute on it. This idea that I just pitched to you in today is going to be different. And who are you to kill my idea? Okay. That's also something I'm very cautious about when I talk to founders. I never kill their ideas. Who am I? They are on a process. Yeah. It's normal that what I can tell them is help them through that process, validate that idea, or figure out what else can they do. How can this idea evolve to become a business?
Right. That's a good point. So it's not about us to make the person of the market. It's to help them to find out the right processes to get to those conclusions, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. And now the resources, your favorite book, and this can be business or non-business. It's much more about getting to know you.
Oh yeah, my favorite book. I have such a bad memory. I read them. It's like I read. I'm looking at my my books now. There. I'm like, which one is my favorite? Oh, no, my favorite book, of course. It's the first book that I read about entrepreneurship. I was 21. And it's the secret innovation of Steve Jobs. It's in French, Le secret d'innovation de Steve Jobs. And that one was for me just like, I understood that you start with passion, you start with user experience, with caring, with customer feedback. And then I was like,
love it.
I got it. I want, like, this is it. I'm doing it.
I'm a founder.
I am.
Feel it.
Yeah, now I know
My art is telling me.
Yeah.
Favorite movie or series?
Oh, I have so many. I would say in general, I try to watch, historical movies with inspiring figures, and business-related movies. Oh, actually, right now I just started this show, How to Make Money on Netflix. So I'm at episode 2. Interesting. I'm like, oh, I could do that job. I could do that job. I wonder what's the business model of the guy. I'm like, I have all these questions coming in my mind. Can I have my own show on Netflix? One day, maybe. Do I want to have my own show?
That is great. Absolutely. And your favorite podcast, excluding this one?
I would say I'm not a big podcast fan because I prefer to listen to music. And right now, I'm into classical music. So that's my new thing. Find it very
great.
Yeah, very relaxing. It's wonderful. But I would say Joe Rogan. From time to time, I jump on one of his podcasts because one of my friends sent it to me, and it's always the same. It's always Joe Rogan that comes back to me.
Sounds great. Raja, thanks so much for making the time to be with us today, and congrats for the amazing story so far. And you are always invited to come back to share the next chapters of your story.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thanks to our community for being there as well. We keep bringing you the best of the best to make your life a little bit easier as you scale up your company. See you soon and keep scaling.